Yo, before we get into the interview, man, I want to give a shout out to all my radio stations all across the country who have the Bootleg Kev Show as an official affiliate. Man, we're on the radio in about 100 cities nationwide every day. Want to give a shout out to Real 92.3 in LA. Shout out to The Beat in Miami. Shout out to Wild 94.1 in Tampa. Shout out to Hot 98.3 in Tucson. Power 98.3 in Phoenix. We 102.9 in Portland. We're all over the country. So you could tap in with that radio show. If you want to know if we're on in your city, just go to bootlegkev.com. The full list of cities is there. You might hear us. Let's get into the interview. Yo, Bootleg Kev podcast, man. We got a special guest in here, a legend, all-time Caucasian.
Okay.
John B. Ladies and
Caucasian.
gentlemen.
Appreciate
Welcome.
that.
Yo, what's up, man?
That.
I got to say immediately, I told my wife that I was interviewing you, and she's 38, I'm 38. And she never cares about anybody I interview ever.
Oh.
But she I was like, do you want to come? Like, do you want to do the fucking interview? She's like,
Jeez, man,
I
that's what's
love
up,
John. He's
So
such an
nice to
attractive man.
Oh, thank
I'm
you
like,
very
okay.
much.
Well, let me
Appreciate
know.
that.
She's not here, but you know.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, so man, how's everything been? Obviously, man, you're like, I feel like when we think of like 90s R&B, like you're one of those names that is just like stood the test of time.
Thank you, man.
What I know you just dropped an album in March.
Yeah. That's been the latest and the greatest. You know, it's been touring around for that. You know, doing mad shows. It's been wonderful to see people come out. You know, and the shows are sold out. You know, everywhere I'm going. So it's just it's still showing up for me, and evidently we're celebrating 30 years now. So
That's crazy.
yeah, man, it is crazy.
Do you feel like, because I feel like right now, even with like radio and like current music, R&B is having a new wave, because you have like, you'll turn on the radio and you'll hear like Kehlani Folded or like Mariah the Scientist
Yeah.
or Leon Thomas.
Mhm.
And it feels like the pendulum is kind of swinging back towards real R&B
Yeah.
and like records, as opposed to like, you know, whatever the fuck's been going on the last like 5 or 6 years, you know?
Right on, man. I love that. I love that. It's been kind of like a watching it grow.
Yeah.
You know, watching it grow, watching it expand. I mean, we had to experiment and change it, you know, and it always morphs into something, you know, else. And so it was something else for a little while. I think
Right.
hip hop and R&B was sort of fused together for a little
For
while.
sure.
And so now we've kind of gotten back into the R&B vibes again, which
Right.
is really, which is
Like love songs and breakup songs.
yeah, I mean, emotion again.
Yeah.
It's okay to have.
Like real shit everyone's going through.
Exactly. And so that's okay, you know, too, you know. And I think that the more and more people get in touch with that side of things, then I think that it makes the other side make sense as well, because everybody wants to party too and just have a good time as well. So, you know, it's like you're either in a relationship or you're not, you know, and both are valid. So I think that it's necessary to have both, you know. And I've been able to fit into that category of the relationships and the, you know, and sort of feeding that energy.
Back then, man, like what is the process for you to get a, like, you know, whether it's Babyface or whoever's attention? Because I feel like nowadays, can someone close that door all the way? If we don't, we'll hear the plane the entire time.
Right.
But I do feel like nowadays, like we have like the internet. So if someone does a cover on Instagram or TikTok, I mean, it's what happened with Justin Bieber and however many years ago that was.
Sure.
You know, like it was a lot easier to be discovered.
Right.
So what was the process for John B, like a young kid trying to make it in R&B in the early 90s, to get a look, to get a deal?
Man, well, I had cassettes and I had CDs and I had my demos, which is like, you know, 40 songs on, you know, it's 20 songs aside.
Damn, you had 20 songs.
I had 40 songs.
On a
man,
demo.
On a demo. And I was going around really shopping as a writer and a producer, because at, you know, 16, 17, I was ready. But, you know, I waited till I was about 18. You know, I could check myself legally out of
Right.
school and go shop my records down to Hollywood, wherever, you know, and that's exactly what I did. I just went to these labels. First, I would make appointments, you know, with the label to meet with the A&R
Right.
at the label. And then usually it would be this type of thing where I would show up and then the guy would like cancel with me on the spot.
Yeah, like,
And
what are
I'd
we
be
doing here?
oh,
What?
like, can we reschedule? And I'm like, oh man, you know, like.
But you're here. I'm
so
here.
I got
Yeah.
ran through the ringer a couple times, and then I kind of got that attitude, like, no, I'm not, you know, I'm not asking for permission with this. I'm going in like letting them know who I am. So I would catch them like going on lunch break, you know, in the lobby and be like, hey man, remember we're supposed to have that meeting, man. I'm John B, you know. And yeah, pretty soon I ended up getting in the right door. You know, the first person to really turn me down was actually Randy Jackson from
Oh
American Idol.
shit.
I got into his door, you know, the Sony door or whatever, and was able to audition and, you know, and sort of play my music. And he was like, you know, I think you're more of a producer than an artist. You know, I'm gonna pass. And I was like, okay. I walked out of there like, all right, well, it's all right. We'll see what happens.
Right.
You know, and kept shopping and. Of course, you know the whole Babyface story and all
Yeah.
that. But the funny thing is I ended up being signed to Sony Epic, and then he ended up working for some. Randy Jackson ended up working for Sony. So when he saw that, you know, his like Tommy Mottola over him, you know, signed me, you know, basically said, "Nah, of course, yes," you know, and so it was kind of like, "Yeah, I told you."
Yeah, when you got Tommy Mottola.
When I saw Randy the next time, I was like, "What's up, man?"
Yeah, you passed on me. Did he acknowledge it? Like,
oh yeah, yeah. He kind of like, you know. All right, man. All right. I was wrong about you, you know.
yeah,
You know.
that's crazy. Is it wild to think like, you know, celebrating 30 years of Bonafide, which is crazy to think that 1995 was 30 years ago.
It is wild, yeah.
And then just being through so many different phases of like how music has changed, you know, 95, some people are still having tapes, CDs are getting introduced, like CDs are becoming the norm, but
Yeah.
you know, and then the streaming era and the iTunes era and all that shit. How is it like for you trying to figure out how to like navigate whatever the 2026 landscape of music is? Because there's so much, you know, social media involved.
Yeah, I think that we have more
playlisting
tools now.
Yeah.
And it's more interesting now, if you ask me. I mean, the only times we were ever on the TV was, you know, we went and, you know, did the Soul Train, you know, or
Right.
we did BET, you know, or the
Right,
award
right.
show, or, you know, you did some sort of like, you know, special guest on MTV or whatever. There wasn't a visual medium yet like there
Right.
is now, which is like everything's visual. Everything's about, you know, getting a full, you know, picture of what's going on and feeling really what's going on. So I think that transparency, being able to, you know, sort of take back the curtain for all that and allow that to all happen is really a beautiful thing, because that's kind of like what we always wanted anyways. You know?
Yeah.
We wanted to make documentaries and movies. And
Right. But
about
back
our
then it
lives,
was
you
such,
know what I mean?
it's such a harder thing to do back then. So expensive.
Well,
you
we
know?
would still do it. We would put the EPKs together, you know, and talk about the projects or whatever.
And now we have like a
you
phone.
know. But now, yeah, now we have a way of doing that just on you know,
Right.
just right now. So yeah, it's a beautiful time, I think, for that, in terms of just all of the information that you get when you buy
Right.
an album. If you want to take a deep dive down a rabbit hole on a certain artist now, you can kind of go through their entire discography pretty quickly on the, you know, on YouTube or whatever,
sure.
you know. So you didn't have that option in the 90s. We had to buy all our records and
Right.
take 15 minutes to open up the CD because the plastic was wrapped up
And
so
then go
tight,
through the
you know what I
booklet,
mean?
see who got
go through the
thanked.
booklet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, read the lyrics and all that. Which that part of it I miss. You know, that tangible part of it I miss.
For sure. I think it's coming back though.
There's an art in that as far as making, you know, the jackets. You know,
For sure.
the
Vinyl
album
and
jacket.
CDs are like CDs right now. Like if you go on eBay, you'll be surprised to see like some CDs are like selling for like 30, 40, $50.
It's crazy, and it's nice to see that, you know, that people are taking you know, taking the interest in vinyl again, particularly because
Yes,
vinyl
yes.
has such a, even before, you know, that's a special thing to be
It's
in.
got an aesthetic too.
It does, and
Yeah.
it's aesthetic is exactly what it is. It's like listening to something that's been ingrained in something, because it's literally been, the needle's been pressed down into the wax.
Yep.
So it's been ingrained in it.
And there's something about just the process of like putting the needle on the record.
That's it, and then and letting it, you know, because it's giving out that that music, and it's like I don't know, the analog, I guess, is the best way to describe it, because when you're listening to a CD, you're listening to a digital
Yeah.
source, which is like perfect, right? When you listen to a vinyl, you're hearing little imperfections, little things that just kind of sing a certain way,
Right.
and it just makes you feel a certain way. So I love that about vinyl.
Hey, we got to stop the interview to tell you about our good folks, ODDSOX, man. Now, these are the ODDSOX basics, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when I tell you this is a product that every single day I'm alive for the last 5-6 years, I have used are these ODDSOX basics. Now, what ODDSOX is doing is they're kind of reinventing the sock game, if we're being honest, and the underwear game. You know, a lot of times you'll hit Walmart, you'll hit Target, you'll get some socks, you'll get some draws. They're affordable. They end up with holes in them. They don't really feel great. Not ODDSOX, ladies and gentlemen. These ODDSOX basics are the most comfortable socks I've ever had on my feet. Not only that, but they're super affordable. $14.99 for a 6-pack. That's it. ODDSOX.com. And if you don't believe me,
Sock check, fool.
sock check, fool. Wait, the X is on the other side. There we go. Ah! You see that? Sorry, you had to see those white legs. But it's so dope that, you know, I get to push a product that I use and that I love. So ODDSOX, they got the 6-pack of socks for $14.99 at ODDSOX.com. The basics. This is the future of socks, the future of underwear, comfort and affordability. I'm talking about affordability without jeopardizing the quality, because they are the most comfortable socks you'll ever put on your feet, ladies and gents. And the et ceteras. Got to show love to the et ceteras. We like all the stripes on the flag. They're ODDSOX.com, man. Much love to my brothers over there. Make sure you get some right now. ODDSOX.com. Let's get back to the interview. You also were very active. There's this like era where like these R&B supergroups start to come together. There's like LSG, which that album is so fire.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever try to get you to do like a supergroup with them?
Well, the closest thing that that I will say was a huge compliment to me, but I was like, how is that gonna happen? But I was on a flight with Bobby Brown,
Oh shit.
and we were coming home from a gig together, and we started talking the whole flight, you know, just chopping it up. And at the end of the flight, he was like, "Man, you want to do a group with me, man?" And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna call Johnny right now. Let's do a group, man." And I was like, because Johnny Gill is like my favorite singer of all time, like
Right.
you know, one of the top,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a good friend of mine as well too. I've worked with him in the past, you know, and with New Edition or whatever.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he calls him up. He's like, "Yeah, man, that sounds cool. Whatever. If he's down, you know." I was just like that. My
How's that
whole
go?
life flashed before
Yeah.
me. I could see myself on stage with them, and I was
You're
like,
with Bobby Brown
"That's a
and Johnny Gill.
childhood dream,
Yeah.
like, you know, that sort of came true in a certain way, you know, but never, you know, of course, nothing ever came of it. But you know, as far as us working in the studio, we definitely would love to. All of us unanimously all said we'd love to get in the studio together and cook up.
You've remixed or done your own renditions of like some very iconic records, whether it's like Michael Jackson or Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
When you approach that, like, first of all, how nervous are you? Because you redid the Michael Jackson
Yeah.
remix while he was alive. Is that right?
No, the remix, yes.
Yeah, the remix.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
remix
the
was
remix,
while he was
yeah.
alive. Yes, I was thinking you were talking about Rock With You. No, yeah, because I redid Rock With You as well. But that was after his passing. But yeah, no, getting to work with his voice, first of all, just to hear all of the snaps and the, you know, acapellas weren't too common back then to have an acapella or
Right.
something. So I was given the whole master tracks, 2-inch reel.
Especially like pop acapellas, like hip hop acapellas. You get on the vinyl, you for DJs, but
Well, if you get a acapella Michael Jackson's voice,
no, that's crazy.
you know, with all of his vocals,
Yeah.
like all separated, you know, not
Right.
just
The stems and
not
everything,
just it's well, back then it was on a reel, so it was an analog tape. So yeah, I got my my Michael Jackson tape and listened to all of the tracks and just kind of went through it, and they said, you know, just remix it, do whatever you want with it. But it's such a beautiful song. I didn't want to sort of ruin it, so I just kind of grooved with that, and that was a fun. I remember that was a fun day because you know, people are passing by, you know, in the other studios. What you working on, man? Oh, I'm just remixing Michael Jackson, you know.
You're like, what?
The door opens, it's Michael Jackson's voice.
Right.
It's like, they're like, is Michael Jackson
Is
in
he in
there?
there?
You know?
Yeah.
But one thing that was cool was he called the studio and he's like, I love what you're working on, you know. I heard the rough and I love it.
Oh shit.
So I was like, thank you so much, you know, and it's such an honor to do this. Of
You
course.
guys shared people, is that right?
Yeah, we had the same manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Morey and Sandy Gallen and Morey, name of the firm. And yeah, that was cool to know that, you know, he was sort of like a phone call away if I wanted.
Did you ever
to.
meet him?
We did meet. We met at the Brit Awards in London and backstage. And my manager's, you know, his manager brought me back.
Yeah.
Jim Morey. And I remember him being like, we're going to be, you know, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for anything, Jim. Like, you know, like while I was in the room. And I was like, okay, I'm out, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, no, John, it's cool. He's just tripping. Like, Michael, you have plenty of time. There's like 45 minutes before you go on. He just wants to get a quick picture. You know? This is John B. He remixed You Are Not Alone. Oh, okay. And then I go over, I'm sorry, I don't mean to impose. You know, he's just like, oh no, it's cool. Nice to meet you. I loved what you did. And I was like, man, nice to meet you. And shook his hand and we took the picture that I have that I'm so grateful to have.
Did he have like an aura?
He did. He had this very, very much like sensitive, shy, but at the same time very professional. Let's get the show. Let's get to the show.
Right.
Like I don't have time for no extra. Like I'm
I can imagine.
concentrating. And when I saw the show, I understood why he was so. You know,
Right.
it was like it's like a Broadway, you know, musical. What he was doing. You know, it was having all these different people. So yeah, it was a lot to coordinate. I'm sure.
You weren't like a big dancer, right?
Not at all.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you because there were. It's like during your era, there was like R&B
You
singers.
catch me grooving, you know what I
Right.
mean?
But it's like,
but that's about it. You're not
you
gonna
ever
see none of this.
Well, did they ever try to pressure you into learning the dance, like the label? Because that back then it was a thing.
Nah. You know, the thing was, they tried to get me to work with choreographers, but even the choreographers that I would work with, like Lorianne and
Right.
big up Lorianne, you know, she worked with me. She's just like, as long as your swag is right, like you're gonna be all right. You don't need to
fucking
do,
Keith Sweat didn't
you don't
dance.
you don't have to do the dance thing. And
Right.
then when I saw, of course, Justin Timberlake come out and he was all about the dancing, I was so glad that I didn't do that. You know what I mean? Because that would have been
You
like,
made it unfair
well,
for all of us whites for life.
He does what he does, you know, and I do what I do, and I dance with my fingers on the keys, you know,
For sure.
and that's always worked for me.
Yeah, it's like because like you know obviously my era of R&B where I was like in the thick of it was like Genuine, Drew Hill, and then you'd see like Usher, and it's like these motherfuckers could get down. Fool.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
Jesus.
unfortunately, I didn't get blessed with the dancing thing, but at least I can move with on beat, on rhythm. Like
But that
they
was
say,
like-
they
I
say
feel like
white
that was-
guys don't have rhythm, though.
Right?
I-
No, you
I
definitely
was the
have.
one
Listen,
that-
buddy,
They got blessed with the rhythm.
you've definitely broken the stereotype for 30 years
Right.
plus now.
Blessed.
No, I just because back then it felt like labels treated artists more like a package. So I wonder if they were like, "Hey, you know, it'd be really nice if
you could dance.
If you could dance."
No. They never hit me with that. What I was really trying to personify was what Babyface did, you know, which was be a,
Someone else who didn't
which
dance,
was
yeah.
which was he was the producer, he was the writer
Songwriter.
and the singer.
Yep.
So and you'd hear him on the backgrounds of all the
Yep.
songs that he produced. So that was very much like right up the alley of what I wanted to do, which is hence the reason why I made it such a point to get to him.
What was it like having Babyface as like a mentor? Because he's
Wow.
one of them ones, man.
Yeah, man. Just you know, talk about already sort of feeling somebody production wise, writing wise, relating to the style and sort of intuitively kind of you know, figuring out like how did he get that sound? All right, I'm gonna find that sound. Even before I met him, I was, you know, already sort of studying his work and him and L.A. Reid and the production, how they were doing it. And I wanted to sort of be on that team of guys that were producing alongside Dallas Austin,
Yeah.
Keith Andes, and you know, and Daryl Simmons, you know, L.A. Reid. And I mean, those are the guys that helped him. And so to be a fly on the wall to what he was doing, whether it was watching him produce Waiting to Exhale, or Boomerang soundtrack, or working with TLC together. Tony Braxton's project. I started out to tell you what it was like with working with Kenny. Kenny say, "Come to the house, man. Let's vibe at the house." And he has a studio at the house.
Yeah.
And just on some casual, come through. And then he plays me the track For Someone to Love.
Crazy.
And I'm like, he's like, "This is for you, man." And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm just blown away, first of all, as a fan, to hear what his interpretation of what I'm going to sound like is, because it just sounded so full and so just everything I could imagine, And then he's like, "All right, man, let me show you how to sing this first little bit of the song." And he goes and he sings it. I said, "Okay, cool, I got that. So you want to record it? Cool." I go in there and I record it. Then he goes to the second verse and he does the same thing, but this time he goes in and records it instead of just singing it for me in the booth. He's like, "I'm gonna show you how it goes." He goes in there and he sings the verse that you hear now on the record, right?
Right.
And I go, "Wait, I gotta do that?
Why don't I just keep you on the song?"
No, I didn't say that. I didn't know what to say. I was like, "Oh my God," he just bodied that, right? And then he comes out and he's like, "Yeah, I think we'll just keep it like that." And I was like, "So I got to sing that?" And he's like, no, I mean, I'm going to keep my voice on the song. And I was like, "You're going to...
You can do a song with me?"
It's a duet? He's like, "Yeah." And I just chills and tears well up. And
That's
I'm
crazy.
like, I'm just kind of like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, and just at that point, I just knew. I was like, everything is extra from here.
As a writer and producer, did you have your own version of that moment with another up and coming artist where you they came through, or you're like, "Hey, I was thinking of you when I wrote this," or
did I have any other experiences?
Like a version of like what Babyface did for you.
Yeah, with someone else.
But you played the record for somebody that you know what I mean?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm getting to kind of do that with an artist that I'm currently working with right now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
She was born in '95, the year that Someone to Love came out. So, but she's been singing all her life. And big up Shay Universe. She opened up for me on my tour. She's from England.
Dope.
And she's really dope artist. She's got a couple albums out, and this new album that she's working on, I was privileged enough to have her come to the studio and work with me. And she's so easy to work with because she's a writer herself.
Right.
So we I cooked up the track, and I had some melody ideas to kind of feed her, and we just kind of wrote the record finished each other's sentences, and so yeah, that's going to be a great experience. But you could just tell when someone really appreciates the opportunity to collaborate, because it's all in what you end up doing.
Right.
It's in the song. It's like, if it's a great song, that means y'all had a great build and a great vibe, and that's what you want.
You also are like on some legendary movie soundtracks, like Rush Hour. Also,
yeah.
I mean, also some not so legendary movie soundtracks, like Steel. Shout out to Shaq.
Really? I'm on that. Oh yes, I am with everything for you, anything.
Shout out to Shaq. I don't know which Shaq movie was worse, Steel or Kazam. I think
Plenty
it
was another one. I had a record with Jay-Z on there, and Coco from SWV.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What year was the Jay-Z? What year was Have Plenty? How long ago?
So that was '96.
So this was like Hawaiian Sophie Hove? Or was this after Reasonable Doubt came out?
This is after Reasonable Doubt.
Okay.
This is right after. This is Jigga. This is Jigga Man.
This is like the early, 96 is the year Reasonable Doubt come out. So he's very much like.
Jay-Z was really, really, Dead Prez, like that whole, like.
The Dead President,
that whole, Reasonable Doubt was sort of one of my favorites of all that time period.
My favorite Jay-Z album.
That's my favorite Jay-Z album. And just to know that I got to link with him, he first of all, he freestyled the whole song. So when you listen to that, it was literally one take. It wasn't, I remember him coming to the studio and just listening to my track, because I made that track. And it was an honor to have him, vibing to one of my tracks, especially not a ballad track, but a hip hop track.
Right.
And I'm a big Premier fan, from Gangstar.
Yeah, shout out to Primo, man.
Primo, and so I was trying to cook up like kind of a Primo style type of beat,
Right.
But then at the same time, I'm like, I want to collaborate with Coco from SW. such a big SWV fan, and her voice is just one of my favorites. So the fact that I was able to get her to be on the record was like perfect. But then how are we gonna just step it up? And I was like, all right, let me get Jay-Z. Let me see if I can get him. And he happened to be coming by the Edmonds, the Edmonds Towers, and he came in, and we asked him if he'd be down for a collabo, and he said yeah. And then when he pulled up to the studio, he just kind of like a man of a few words, you know, sat there and or stood there, and you know, for an hour and just played the record, just kind of.
And
like,
he's probably
listen.
putting the whole.
All I could hear his mind ticking and working, and so at the end of the session, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna come back tomorrow, lit." I was like, "Cool, book another day. Let's wait." You know, I'm at his discretion. Sure enough, he comes in, wastes no time, goes straight to the booth, and lays the rap. And
Was that the no pen or paper?
no pen or paper.
Was that the first time you seen something like that? With
Yeah, that was the first time I had seen that.
Yeah,
I mean, I can kind of do that with
melodies and all that, and
with melodies and lyrics too.
Yeah.
I can freestyle
Yeah.
and all that. But you know, when you're so sort of poised with what you do and how you do it, that there's no explaining or no talking about, okay, I got that, you know, and then you go in and you cut the record. That's like exceptional.
One Take Jay, they call him.
One take Jake. That's what Damon let me know, because Damon Dash was there, and he was just like, yeah, don't worry. Like, he's not even gonna write. You're not gonna ever see him sit down and write. So like,
And you're
that's
like,
not even.
you're probably like, what the?
I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. He's like, he's gonna come tomorrow, smash it. Just trust. And then after he got done, he's like, I told you, man. I was like, okay. But that's a real hot record. I love that. That song's called "Keep It Real."
Talk to me, because you have the privilege of working with someone like Jay, and then by all accounts, a lot of people say you were the last guy to record with Pac.
Oh, I was, yeah. Yeah. 2 weeks before his passing.
Someone else who had an insane work ethic, and by all accounts, like everyone always says, his studio regimen was just fucking crazy.
He told me 3 songs a day. You ain't really in the mode that I'm in. You know?
Right.
And I was like, damn, okay. 3 songs? That's a lot.
I wonder, like, I want to get to that session, but he ends up passing, and then one of his albums that comes out after he dies is "Are You Still Down?"
That's what his mom wanted to call it, because it was the last song that he did.
Yeah.
And he didn't play his music for his mom too much, but because she told me. And we had a meeting at her house. I was privileged enough to be able to be invited to go to her house after the memorial that we had for Pac in Atlanta. And we chopped it up, and she was just like, yeah, he played that record with a pride, you know, he really loved that record, John, you know, and he was so excited about it because he played it for me, like, look what I did, Mom, you're gonna like this one, you know what I mean?
Like, this is one you like, yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be something that, you know, something different for me, you know, and he called it his crossover record.
Ah.
And it was interesting because he's like, man, he's like, this record for you is gonna solidify you. Like, you can go any hood in the world, and you gonna be good, John. And I was like, no doubt. He's like, you leaving already, man? It's like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'm like, man, I gotta get all the way back because I'm out. Like, it was like Van Nuys or something like that,
Yeah.
and I'm in Pasadena, so I was like, man, I gotta get home. So, but I left, and I didn't know that was gonna be the last time I saw him. You know,
Crazy.
give him a big hug and told him I love him and love the record, you know, and I banged that record over and over with the window down on the way home, just knowing like, oh, we got one.
We guys got one, yeah.
We got
It's crazy. Like, what is your genesis to y'all's relationship? Like, what kind of kicks that?
Well, it was my man Bezo that invited me down to the How Do You Want It video shoot, and that was wild. They walk in, I met Casey and JoJo there, and Johnny J. The producer.
Yeah,
Are You
Johnny
Still
J's
Down?
dope,
And
yeah.
Johnny J was, you know, rest in peace to him as well. I mean, that was the dynamic duo, really.
Yeah.
Was Johnny J and Tupac.
Yep.
They were always making records. That was his primary producer, as far as the beats.
Yeah.
I mean, from How Do You Want It to All Eyes on Me to, you know, the list goes on. But our vibe was like instantaneous. I walked into the RV where, you know, and it was like, all right, peace, what's up, man? You know, and what's up, guys? Swan Tech, everybody there. And then he's like, what you got, man? You got any beats or anything? My beat tape, you know, and started playing. The first song I played for him was a record that I had an idea for, and it was called Down and Out on Lonely Street. And I was like, I told him the idea, and without even having to tell him how the hook, like the melody of the hook or whatever, he started to do it. Like the beat went like doom, bop, ba boom, boom, bop, right, and then he's going down and out on Lonely Street. I was like, that's exactly what I had in mind. That's crazy, like, and so we were going back and forth like already, and then Casey and JoJo, they were like, "What you guys got going there? You know,
Right.
you need to take that in the studio, make something, really happen with that." And so yeah, that was kind of cool. Like, just having that moment with him, and I thought, if anything, that was dope. Left the video shoot, and sure enough, 2 weeks later, he hit me up, and he's like, "I'm at Van Nuys. Come to the studio. Come to Can Am." And I rolled right out there, man. And I told him what I needed, and
This ends up being the last session?
this was we actually, I think we had like, that was the only session we had was one day, man. And it was the kind of thing where I thought I might be the one to cook up the beat. I
Right.
didn't know. So I was like, bring my equipment, make sure I have a drum machine there.
I would say at that point in time, what is your setup? Is it like MPC?
MPC 3000, rack mounts, controller, keyboard, a Rhodes. I'd have like a vocoder.
Yeah.
But I had all that, right? But I was ready to cook up for him. But I was like, you got anything, that you want to play me, as far as beats or whatever? Because Johnny J, come on, man.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, the first beat he plays me is Are You Still Down?
Crazy.
And I was like, that's it. Let's.
I don't even got. Let me put all this shit back in the car.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't gotta set all this up.
Right. And so yeah, we started cooking up on that, and it was like a 3-hour deal before we basically had the meat and potatoes of the record.
Jesus.
3 hours, like we were going bop, 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 just tit for tat every other line. I'd come up with the melody, and then he'd come up with the lyrics.
Right.
And he'd come up with the melody, and I'd come up with the lyrics. It's like, or I'd start a line, and he'd finish the line, or it was just, that's a real collaboration when you get to build with somebody like that. And he was the nicest person, but he was a no bullshit kind of dude. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like if there's somebody was being loud in the room, he'd let it.
Kick him out.
Nah, he'd be
Tell him
like,
to
"Hey
shut-
man,
yeah.
it's John B up in here, man."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like he was really, really down for me.
Is the studio aesthetic like Alizé bottles and like chicks, or like what
It
is
was
the
mad 40s and blunts and Hennessy and just tons of Hennessy.
Yeah.
And I remember I was getting lit, and I started to mess up on the vocoder little lines.
You
I
were
was
drinking
playing.
Henny as well.
Yeah, and smoking and all that. And so, as I'm vibing, I'm kind of like having fun with it. I'm like, and he's just like, wait, hold on, stop the tape. Hey man, play that shit right. Hold on, no more Hennessy for John.
Yeah.
No more smoke for John till you get that joint right, man. Now play it right. Now without having to be mean about it,
Right.
he just was serious.
Yeah.
He's like, no bullshit right now. Like play it, mean it. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, cool, run it from the top, and that's what you hear. Same goes for the ad libs at the top when I hit the little high note, and he was like putting pressure on me as far as to, I want to feel it from the first note, bro. And I was like, all right, cool. So he's like, that was his way of producing, was kind of putting you in that performance mode of like, all right, man, I'm gonna milk this thing, make it the best I can make it.
Is it like tough to work that record with him not being around?
It was, man. It really was.
Because you got to go do radio promo.
Well, yeah,
and
I've learned over years on how to deal with that, because early on you see this. I see old interviews with me, and
Yeah.
I look so sad, and I look so just sort of disoriented. If you look at my old videos or interviews, I'm very shy. I'm very underspoken. I'm kind of, to be quite honest with you, I have never really said this in an interview, but I was very depressed.
really,
After that happened, yes, I was very depressed. I was in shock.
probably like some like weird survivor's guilt,
I was
right?
23
Yeah.
when
You're
he
a kid,
died.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was a kid too. He was
25.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy, man. I can imagine like you're like you have to.
And he got killed. It wasn't like he died of
Right.
like some sort of heart attack or some natural causes. Like they took his life.
Right.
So, but it was like so. It was like almost like the way that he perceived his death, and you know, he foretold about, foreshadowed, you know, through his career about his demise. And so when he got shot, you know, the second time, I thought, well, because I was in Europe, I was in England when I found out about it. I was trying to finish up the last song from my album because that was also that was going to be like the last song I cut for the album.
Mm.
And I thought, well, he's Tupac. He's gonna survive this again, and he's just gonna come back and be like, I've been shot that many times, I'm still here. You know, I just thought like there's no way that get this opportunity. First of all, I was thinking selfishly, I was, because I was so proud of what we did. I was like, I can't wait to, if I show up with Tupac on my side, it's over. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. So that was a huge thing when they told me that he had passed, man. It's like, you know, my entire sort of vision of what I thought was going to happen was, you know, no, it's not going to happen like that.
Yeah.
You're going to have to just hold those moments in for yourself and be proud of that in your heart, of what you did and who he was for you at that moment. And then we lost Johnny J, you know, as well, you know, beat maker of Are You Still Down? And we had the privilege of working in the studio many times after Pac's
he's one of the most underappreciated, like underrated producers of all time. Like when we talk about, you know, we talked about Primo earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just interviewed Lazy Bone yesterday, and we were talking about DJ Unique, and I'm like, Unique, Johnny J, these are guys that like we just need more flowers.
Yeah, they do,
for what they did in the.
That's
90s.
why I talk about him as much as possible. Johnny J, we did a part 2 to Are You Still Down, which was called part 2, and it had an old verse of I believe it was an old record that he had recorded with Pac, obviously, and but that he had never really put out. I guess for some reason they never really made he might have put it out on a mixtape or something like that, but had a different beat and the whole thing. So what was so interesting is all his ad libs and everything that we took from the record. When we put it all together, it was like Pac was in the room with us, man. It was such a great way to both feel like he was
almost like a nice way to mourn too.
Yeah, it was a
like
wonderful way to mourn.
Like,
yeah,
especially because it's with Johnny.
It really was, and even the ad libs though, the way it all lines up, it feels like Are You Still Down?
Yeah,
it felt like he was in the room, and we just kept saying that the whole time. Man, this is crazy, man. This is crazy, and thank you so much for making this happen for me, you know. And so yeah, man, when we lost Johnny, that was at least I could see my boys together, you know, both rest in power together. So that's the beautiful part of that, you know.
So the 90s is like the remix peak where we would get amazing remixes to songs. Was there ever a almost remix that happened with They Don't Know that just for whatever reason just didn't come to fruition? It feels like
there was lots of remixes that were done. Yeah, there was like tons I did, and then there was one that Soul Shock and Carlin did that kind of took off a little bit.
Okay.
That was the most recognized remix I remember. Was the Soul Shock and Carlin? They kind of turned it in a little hip hop.
I feel like the remix era has got to come back. With like we're like
you know when they used to do different versions of
different
the song?
beats,
different beats, and just call it the remix.
About, like, the Jagged Edge, Let's Get Married.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like the remix of that song is like not. It's a whole other song. Like
I mean, or like Biggie's, you know, Juicy,
100%.
You know, there's lots.
Or 112 Only You remix.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or even like any Jermaine Dupri.
Like how the Isley Brothers record was used for was it One More Chance, right?
Yeah.
Or no, that was the Bunny DeBarge. But I remember that being so dope that he did that, because I remember there was an old Tribe Called Quest remix of Bonita Applebum that used the Isley Brothers remix, and that remix was fire. Have you ever heard that? It was Bonita Applebum, but it was with the Isley Brothers.
I'm not sure if I've heard it.
Beat to it. It was fire. It was on the single.
To check the rhyme.
Tribe Called Quest, man. It was
Tribe had some crazy remixes, like the Scenario remix. The check the rhyme remix one.
Yeah.
Even like even like in hip hop, like you would be like, yo, this is the Pete Rock remix of like,
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing is I'm a huge hip hop head, so I would always want to work with those producers, but instead of getting just a remix, I really wanted to collaborate with them. I wanted to write
Right.
the lyrics in front of them, and get in the studio and really have that one-on-one kind of back and forth thing going on. Because that's just the way I think the greatest energy is exchanged that way.
Right.
It's not a surreal kind of virtual situation. It's a real deal. Like chemistry. That's it's like we were vibing that way that day, and that's the way it sounds.
So the album you dropped last year, Rick Ross is on the album, Alex Isley, Donnell Jones, who's another GOAT.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to
Big
Donnell
up
Jones.
Donnell, big up.
Do you still, because things have changed, right? Now it's like I could send you an open and you could just record it at home and send it back. Like, are you still like trying as much as you can to like work in studio with?
Yeah. Well, Tank and I big up Tank for
Shout out
being
to
on
Tank.
the album as well. Shout out to Tank.
Tanks, him and Jay's podcast fire too, man. The R&B Money podcast.
Yeah, I was on there, and that's where I got to play him "Waiting on You," the song that he, collaborated with me on, and he's just like, man, that's it. He's like, you're on the right vibe. He's like, I need to be on that record. I was like, you want to be on this record, bro? I was like, that was the greatest compliment, first of all, because he's like one of the modern kind of energies I've paid attention to over the years vocally that has really influenced me. Because he sings from a different place. He has a different tonality. It's very full. And I grew up with the Babyface school. We sing very smooth and very, all the articulations and stuff is great. But then that fullness is like a different kind of strength, projection and all that. So I think that, you learn vicariously through people. And he's been one of those guys I paid attention to. So yeah, when we got to he came through the studio. It wasn't our first time working together too. We worked in 2004. We worked on my Stronger Everyday album. So yeah, to get that, get back in the lab though with him, and just he didn't want to change anything. He's like, man, I just want to put a bridge on there. It's like, oh, perfect. Put the harmonies on there. He started playing piano to the record in the hallway, and I was like, that's gotta go on there, man. That's beautiful. What are you playing? Let's record that right now.
Yeah.
So then played piano on there, and so he kind of put the bells and whistles to it, and then I thought that's wonderful. Are we gonna shoot a video? And then he was cool enough to come through and shoot the video with me as well. So yeah, it really jumped the album off to a great start, and I felt like it's the kind of moves I need to be making after 30 years of being in the game now. This is, if you're gonna put something out, make it something that's classic, and make it something that people are really gonna pay attention to, and it's not gonna just fly over their heads. And at the same time, I'm not a cookie cutter. I'm not kind of like influenced by anything right now other than exactly what I told you. I was like, I want to work with my boy Tank.
Yeah.
And we're gonna just cook up and make a dope record.
Do you feel like now, because I know a lot of my homies who are like quote unquote like legacy artists, they're more busy now on the road than ever.
Oh yeah,
because
I'm one of the hardest working guys in R&B.
well, it feels like older artists are the only people who could really move hard tickets anymore. Like in terms of like
we have an establishment. Now
Yeah.
but I'm sorry, I don't want to.
No, I was gonna say like is that something that you're just like, yo, like business is booming for you on the road?
Yeah, I mean that's really the main bread and butter, really, because I will say the industry has been completely changed in terms of the way that we monetize our music. I mean, in terms of like the way we make money for our music. And we're not selling records anymore. They're tangible things. These are streams. And you got to have a certain, billions of streams in order for it to matter, So I will say the music is pretty much for free, as far as like the that aspect of putting music out and getting paid for the music. You have to go out and do shows in order to get money in this business. I will say that to the guys coming up in the game who think you could just put a record out and you're gonna cha-ching, and I mean, these days there's more opportunity for that to happen than there was when I started, because you have TikTok and Instagram and all the different social media platforms that will sometimes turn over a hit.
For sure. And even like maybe even take a song that's X amount of years old and
then all of a sudden resurge, It's so I love that about where we are with the tools that we have, as far as just that part of there's so many different tools to be able. I mean, podcasts right here. This
Right,
is,
right,
this is
right.
a whole dope aspect of being able to do interviews. I remember the only time I would ever get interviewed was either on Soul Train or BET, or MTV TRL, or these places where you get invited to go if your record was
Right.
doing its thing. So
Yo, what was it like working with ODB?
yeah.
Because you had
Well, I'm a
ODB
big
when he
Wu-Tang
was
fan, so-
Dirt McGirt. You know what I mean? The Dirt McGirt era.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right
Yeah,
before
that
he
was
passed.
right. That was right before he passed as well. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean, that was just Blaze on the track, and I collabed on
My
that
favorite,
track.
my favorite producer of all
Yeah.
time.
Oh,
by the
really?
way. Yes.
Yeah, big
I
up
wish
Just
I
Blaze, man.
I don't know what he's doing, but
Yeah, no,
for fuck's
he's-
sake, please put more beats out.
Yeah, come on, I need that Just
Stop
Blaze
playing
collabo.
PlayStation or whatever.
I got to get. That's where he put his music into the gaming and all.
Oh,
that
I know.
Stuff. So yeah,
He had the iced out PlayStation controller.
that guy, man, was such a great collaboration because we cooked up so many records so fast. It was like we made like 5 joints in like 2 days or something like that. We went ham, and it was crazy. The song that we did with Beanie Man, Every Time remix was just as dope as the ODB or OG version. The ODB got on. It's the same song every time. It's just we did a remix for it, and
Yeah.
that's an example of what we're talking about. Different version of the song.
Right.
It's like a dancehall version of the song. But yeah, I mean, ODB was wild. He came in imitating my ad libs or whatever, my melody. He's just like started off singing just crazy. The top of his lungs. Just classic ODB. But I mean. It was a dream come true because, I mean, I used to just rock his records, man. Like, I would roll down the window and head down to the Century Club when I was 22 years old, man, bumping like, ooh, baby, I like it raw.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby, I like it raw. It's just, just memories of ODB, man, being so, like, he was kind of like the wild sort of mascot of our time back then. What was
For
going
sure.
on,
I mean, I was thinking about like his the
shame on him.
yeah.
I'd run
Shout
game
out to
on him.
ODB, man. Gone too soon. I feel like he'd have had a sitcom or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh man, yeah.
he'd have had like
he was
when,
making so many big moves though to be, like to still have a EBT card or whatever it was,
Right.
and just being on Mariah Carey's
I just found out
record and all this, and just huge tours and all that.
I interviewed Ghostface like a couple months ago, and he said that ODB came to the Triumph video shoot, but he wouldn't be in the video unless they gave him $15,000. And so somebody
get your
on
money.
set put a Scully over their face and did his verse while he watched.
Oh shit!
So that's not even him in the video.
That's wild. Yeah, that's wild. That sounds like him, man.
He was like, I'm only going to be in the video if y'all
I
give me.
didn't know the guy. I didn't get to meet him or work with him in the studio on that record.
Got it.
But me and Just that's the story of me and Just collaboration. Just
Yeah, because
Blaze.
around that time he was like with Rockefeller, Dame Dash.
I got because at that point me and Dame had already been doing business because he got Jay-Z to do the record from with Coco, and so yeah, he was managing or he got signed with
he signed with Dame.
Rockefeller.
With Rockefeller. Yeah, there was like that was like the kind of the end era of like Dame and
Yep.
that whole thing.
When we spoke on the phone, we said peace and everything, and
Hey, we got to wrap up this interview. Another one presented by Jardín, baby. You already know what it is. Shout out to Jardín for presenting another episode of the Bootleg Kev podcast. Don't forget, when you're in Vegas, you're getting that taxi, you're getting that Uber, say, take me to Jardín, the #1 cannabis dispensary in the world. Premium selection of the craziest gas you could ever ask for. And then they break down what all the terps mean. It's incredible. Go to Jardín_Las Vegas, shoot them a follow. And when you're in Las Vegas, make sure you shoot them a visit. So you have like you said, you're a hip hop head. So who's like your top 5 rappers?
well, Nas is my all-time favorite.
Well, you got to work with him and AZ.
Yeah, and that was crazy. I recently ran into Nas in London. I came to his show. He's got the orchestra behind him, and just
Crazy.
it's like some Frank Sinatra, But the MC and just as far as MC in there is nobody who could touch him, who could come close. Period.
I
Like he
I
is.
I agree.
He's the mind, man. He's the mind of hip hop. Like to me, I grew up off of guys like Rakim, you know, and Rakim was such a linguist and such a rhythmic, his cadences, and you know, he would hit you with something that was just so dynamic and so, but it was also sort of that gall that he had with his voice, you know, to keep it sort of so serious and sort of monotone in that way. Never heard him. None of that. It was like very serious. I'm gonna tell you like this, baba baba da 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 da. You know, so my whole thing was Nas. He took that over in terms of like that whole mindset. And in '96 is when I remember him. You know, '95 I will say 90, maybe 95 was when
Illmatic was
Illmatic
94.
It was 94. Okay,
Yeah.
so 94. Yeah, I knew it was right there because I was bumping that album. When I first got signed, that was sort of like, you know, going to New York and playing New York, you know, like,
Yeah.
I mean, or, you know, New York State of Mind,
yeah.
you know, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he just, you know, it's one of those things, man. Like, I mean, the collaboration between him and Pete Rock on that album too. And you know, Primo, of course.
Yeah, they
mean,
just dropped the album, that Light Years album.
Yeah,
Finally.
amazing.
Probably 15 years too late. It'd been nice to get that shit in like 2004.
Yeah. I mean, he's you know, but to get to sort of be this fan of him for so many years, and then get to actually have him come to my house and listen to the beats in the studio and just be like, yo, that one right there.
That's got to be crazy having him come to the crib.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean.
Is AZ there too at the same time, or is that a separate thing?
That was a separate thing.
Yeah.
So AZ and I hooked up in Chicago actually and recorded because we, you know, I let him know I wanted to work, and he you know, he was cool with it, and we made everything happen. Both flew to Chicago, and for some reason we cut it out there. But yeah, it was a real, that was dope.
I mean, Nas is coming to your house. This is around this is probably right before things get too hairy with him and Jay-Z. I'm assuming it's in that pocket of time.
Yeah, that hadn't started yet.
Yeah.
You know, but I was a huge fan of like records like Black Girl Lost, you know what I mean? Sure. And like
this is, by the way, 2001's the Esco season. This is Nas Escobar.
Yeah. So records like Uchi Wally and all that, you know, is happening. And but you know, Nas was playing pool in my house with my brother because I had left real quick to go to the store to get something, and it came back, and there's Nas playing pool, and I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, JB, what's up? And I'm just like, it's on some regular, you know what I mean? Just some regular, like the homie just came through, and he was just very, you know, he's still Nas, but he's just, you know, he's approachable. Right. He wasn't gonna come out his bag for anybody, and as far as just like the vibe was very serious, but it was very, very easy. It didn't make me feel like uneasy or like, you know, he wasn't trying to relate to where I was coming from, because I was like, man, I want to try to do something a little smoother. Check this out. And I played the track. Because I mean, the song like Street Dreams is a huge influence for me as far as the push of why I would do a track like Finer Things. Because I made that track. What was inspiring that track would probably be a track like Street Dreams or Black Girl Lost. But in that vein, the do that kind of pocket. And when he heard it, he's like, man, that's like some male Sade kind of vibes, man. I was like, that's exactly what I'm going for.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, and so we hit it off, and he was so professional when he recorded the record. He first recorded like a whole 16 bars, and then he was like, yeah, delete it, man. I hate it. And I was like, what do you mean, man? That's so dope. He's like, I'm gonna write it again, man. It's coming, but that ain't it. And I saved that John too.
I was about to say, you gotta be like,
a whole nother
saving
record.
that. Let me drag that over. It's deleted.
Right. No, but you know, but that was one of the best collaborations next to Tupac. And I've had some pretty amazing collaborations. Work with Mos Def. Work with
shout out to Mos,
yeah. Shout out to Mos. We're actually gonna. I don't want to speak on it too soon, but we're gonna revisit something that we collaborated on back in the day.
Oh, dope.
We're actually gonna reinvigorate that.
I like to hear that.
We're gonna revisit that.
Anytime we get new Yasin Bey, it's a good day.
Yasin Bey, yes. Big up.
Hey,
to the homie.
you came up in like the wildest, well, maybe not the wildest time. but maybe the wildest time because
It was pretty damn
well,
wild.
listen, the fact that there were no cameras and social media, I think the groupies were a lot more crazier back. And what is, do you have because you are like a
I'm not going to talk about no
well, you're a
groupie
sex symbol, man.
shit. Yeah, no.
So I'm
I
sure
have no groupie stories.
you've never had nobody like try to sneak into your hotel or follow you back from a show or anything crazy like
it's
that.
happened, man. It's happened, and it still kind of does. I mean, it's a matter of just living with diplomacy and having I mean, I'm married 18 years now, and happily married with my children, my beautiful two girls. Young one's a young lady now, and 18 and 11-year-old as well. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to live for, in terms of the realm of having some self-respect and also respect for my family.
For sure,
as
for
well,
sure.
Of course,
But did it get to a point where you realized like, oh, we got to get the security together? Because
No, it's
this
never
is-
gotten to that point. I think I've stayed too much in my artistry bag in terms of like really about my producing, really about my performing. Like people know I'm a real artist. They
Right.
know I'm not like the guy who's looking for that attention. I think when you're looking for that attention,
You'll-
you'll get it easy.
it comes.
It'll come to you because
Yeah.
that's what you want.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
sending the messages out through the music too. Come get it if you want it type.
Right,
of thing.
right.
No, my music is much more relationship oriented, and I'm much more of a recluse than I may come off to be as this guy like that comes out the club and the glasses and the leather. I'm in my artistry bag, It's not necessarily that I'm the guy who comes out to socialize and wants to talk to everybody, even though that's my job, and I sure do. I love it. I don't take it for granted. In every interaction that I have, I try to make a genuine one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if the person's on some just giddy,
Right,
like,
right.
It's like, I try
Thanks for
ma-
coming
I
to
try-
the show.
Try to put,
Yeah.
I
Take
try
the
to put some
picture.
real.
Yeah.
I try to like allow people to have a moment of my real authentic
Right.
self because I am so appreciative still of this.
And you still get to
opportunity.
do this 30 years later.
Yeah,
and
it really means something to me. If I wasn't a musician and I was only looking for the fame and only looking for the money, then maybe I might not be so
you might have crashed out already. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm in it for the music. I love the sounds that I'm hearing still, and I love to be able to sing and play, and so
Like I said earlier, it's like a great time for R&B again.
yeah.
Who are some of the newer artists or songs that you just have appreciated just being a fan?
Yeah, well, I mean, on the mainstream level, Chris Brown has been huge. Like I watched him sort of like grow all these years, and to see this new music that he's put out, I love that. I love what he's done.
Yeah, I saw his Breezy Ball band and I was tripping.
Yeah,
And I only got to see like
it's great.
I had because I had
I
to
went
host.
to it too as well.
Yeah, I went in Vegas after the iHeart Festival
Yeah,
or the iHeart Awards rather or festival, whatever it was.
he's such a great performer.
No,
man.
I only got to see like the second half, and I was like, "Wait a minute, he's been on for
Yeah,
he already was on for 90 minutes."
yeah.
It's crazy.
3-hour show.
It
man.
is wild.
Well, that's what you do when you're seasoned like that. You know what I mean? And you have all those gifts. Now
I'm glad he did the
Now he
the
got
stadiums.
the dancing gift, okay?
Oh.
Because that guy can dance.
Flying in the air.
Yeah, all of that. The flying in the air part is extraordinary though, because that's like some Cirque du Soleil. That's like level.
No, it's
level
crazy.
of-
I'm just glad because I feel like Chris Brown is our generation's MJ, and I
Yeah,
feel
me
like
too,
he
me too.
should be like he's in the GOAT convo.
Yeah,
And I'm glad he like put it on the table and said, "I'm doing stadiums,"
yeah.
and they and
Why mess around with it
Right.
when you can do that and then sell every show out?
Crazy,
and
bro.
and how many hundreds of millions of dollars did he come back with after that? So yeah, no, it's wonderful to see R&B, to how far it's grown, what it's grown into, and artists like Chris Brown to be able to bring that to the table. I mean, I will say I've paid a lot of attention to The Weeknd over the years.
I mean, he's also Jesus.
And and it's the entire production of what The Weeknd brings. I pay attention to the tracks, the mixing, the vocals, the lyrics, and it's what he brings to the table as far as that. I really think that he's a wonderful artist.
He's my favorite non-hip hop artist, probably.
Yeah, but I mean, when you can do like a song like "Save Your Tears,"
Right.
and then still be able to do like your trap R&B,
It's
like
crazy.
like timeless and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It all works.
And then when
It all
did you get
works.
to see his stadium show?
Yeah,
It's like different. It makes you kind of like, because like what he's doing and what Chris Brown's doing is different, but
Yeah.
it's still very like,
Yeah.
you're like the visuals are so well thought out.
His
and the
songs are what you
imagery-
celebrate in that
Yeah,
show.
it's so
you know?
crazy,
It's the songs that you celebrate because he's just by himself up there, just
Yes.
walking the stage.
It's
So it's not a lot of dancing. There's not a lot of.
But he's got like the crazy like, you know, chicks behind him with the red shit on.
They're doing their thing. Yeah, no, it was cool. That was the loudest show I've ever been to. I will say, man, that was like so loud. I was like, oh my
and
God.
he's like the nicest dude ever.
Cool. I've never met Abel.
He's so cool, man. I met
But
him a couple
I'm
times.
featured on his new album, which is kind of cool. They sampled "Someone to Love."
Mm,
and Mike Dean.
they
did the
did.
production and,
Yeah.
yeah, and it was cool. Like they hit me up and they're like, we pitched it up. So but I said, oh, let me hear it.
I think that's his best album. And
Really?
I that Hurry Up Tomorrow, that shit is, I think it was like my number 3. I think my number 1 album of the year was Clips, and then it was Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist, and then it was The Weeknd. That Weeknd album is crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's like good shroom music on there too. I hate a lot of mushrooms, so you could throw some throw that Weeknd on and just trip balls.
Oh,
man.
okay. There you go.
But nah, I also think the ladies are killing it. Like on the R&B tip, I feel like women are running shit right now. Like shout out to Summer Walker and Kehlani.
Kehlani, yeah.
Mariah's killing it.
Yeah, Mariah
Kali
Scientist.
Uchis dope.
Kali Uchis is one of my favorites. I would love to collaborate with her. I mean, Ari Lennox is dope.
She's
I mean,
incredible, yeah.
I'd love to collaborate with all of them, But I've actually ran into Ari before, and we've both expressed
I ran
want
into her
to
at the
collaborate.
7-Eleven on Cahuenga and Magnolia randomly at like 4 a.m.
Right.
She was making a coffee. I was like, all right,
She's
Lennox.
so sweet. She hit
What
me
are
up
you
for my
doing?
birthday and
Yeah.
said happy birthday. So I just think that's cool. Like no other artist like reached out to me. She did, and that was kind of
That's
cool.
super dope,
It's just
man.
random, but it's like, whoa, what?
Are you already? I mean, look, the album dropped March of last year, so I'm
Yeah.
assuming you're already working on the next thing.
Yeah, well, we kind of we're gonna do the European leg of my tour for this album. We've been doing the 30-year anniversary of my first album,
Yeah.
Bonafide, and that's what's been keeping me busy for the most part with the touring. And we're kind of calming down a little bit right now, going through some renovations at home with my studio, completely gutting,
Doing
the
a whole new studio,
just
yeah.
making a brand new studio. So that's kind of put me in a creative hiatus right now, kind of in downtime right now, but at the same time still producing, working on different projects.
Well, shit, man,
Shea
you're-
Universe is one of the
Coming up on
people
30 years of the second album, right? Which is like your biggest album.
yeah, that's the one that we're gonna I really want to get into the idea of putting out my original music myself independently, and like
Yeah, I just had this talk with Lazy Bone last night because he was talking about how they don't own their masters, and I was like, look, I know there's a lot of moving parts with Bone Thugs and Harmony. We all know, right?
yeah.
If you guys could all just come together and re-record all of your shit,
Mm.
or do like a unplugged version.
Yeah,
you guys
just do
own those
another version.
masters.
Yeah.
Like,
Without a doubt. Well, the thing is like now it's it's possible to
you should do a 30
reissue records.
I
And
was gonna say,
you
when-
remaster them and then reissue them.
when you celebrate the 30 years of the second album, you should go do a tiny desk.
Ooh, that'd be nice. Yeah,
I feel like a John B. Tiny desk. would
I'd
go
love that.
Crazy,
I'd love that. Yeah, I haven't done that yet, so that'd be
bro.
great.
That'd go crazy.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Viral.
Without a doubt.
Well, shit, man. Thanks for coming through.
Absolutely, man. My pleasure.
You gotta,
good chopping it up with you, bro.
Yeah, man. You're on the road. When you going to Europe?
So Europe is happening in spring, and it's we're going to England, we're going to Paris, we're going to Germany, Istanbul.
Shout out to Turkey, man. Go get you a hair job out there, bro. You don't need it, but you know what I
Thanks,
mean?
man. Yeah, we're going to a lot of different places. But I got a show coming up in LA. Actually, is it next week? Next week, the 17th.
17th. Oh, Saturday.
Yeah,
Next Saturday.
We're at the Regent.
Oh, that'd
We're
be
at the
dope.
Regent.
Do you do the
I'm
whole
looking over
band?
to my wife right now. She's
She's got all the
my
info.
other half of my brain. So.
I get it, man.
Yeah, no, it's we're excited about the show. We've got my man
Special Michael.
Sebastian Michael
Sebastian
is
Michael?
on there as well.
Sebastian
I knew it was.
I thought he said
it's a
Special
name-
Michael.
Sebastian.
Special Michael too. I
I was like, shout out to Special Mike.
He said special. I was like, special somebody. No, Sebastian Michael. Yes, no, he's super dope. So, another self-contained artist that writes his own stuff and plays roles, plays keys, and so I'm excited, man, because I always love to have like a night where somebody warms up the vibes and gets everybody going, and yeah, he's doing his thing.
What is your biggest market? Would you say outside, outside of home here in LA? But like, is there like a city that just?
I mean, everywhere it's been so supportive. So it's kind of really at this point, everything's hard to say. I mean, it's because when you have sold out shows, I don't mean to brag about it right now, but it's a wonderful thing to see my fans.
But can you see like on the streaming
fans turn
side
up on me,
who who streams the most on the back end? Like,
I don't know what.
the UK.
The Bay has been incredible.
Oh, you're definitely for sure.
The Bay is incredible.
Look, Oakland's
But I would-
finest over here. He's like, you damn right, represent.
But I mean, it's weird. I mean, New York and in all of the East Coast too, as well. It's been. I mean, DC. I mean, it's been crazy. I've been, it's all of the shows. Atlanta has been incredibly supportive this year with this new album. So it's really hard to say, man. It's just love everywhere, and that's one thing I'm just so blessed to continue to not only love it myself, but to see that the people didn't forget about me.
Last question: in 2026, if you could do a collab album with anybody, rapper or singer, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Damn. Well, I just because I'd love to see what it would be, because I know it would be epic, would be me and Eminem.
Ooh,
That would be really dope.
one might argue two of the greats in each of your fields that happen to be vanilla.
Well, that part too. I mean, that's like that's a
It'd be the Caucasian
That's a
version of the
fact.
best of both worlds. Yeah. Oh my God, that'd go crazy.
Well, I mean, I that's a no-brainer, but I think that his creative, his know-how, his skill, but then also like how deep he goes into writing his records reminds me of Pac.
Yeah, he's very like I have a lot of homies who've had the opportunity to work with him in the studio, like Yellow Wolf and those guys, and they just say like he treats the studio sessions like it's like special ops training. You know what I mean?
bet.
Like, I'm like, yo, the session ends at 5 p.m. because I have to go home to my family. So we're not here to fuck around.
That's what's up. I love working in the day. That's a
Yeah.
weird thing for people sometimes. A lot of night owls in this business, and I used to be like that too. But as you have families,
Yeah, it's like you don't want to be out till 7 a.m.
I want to start at 11 in the morning. That's
Right.
why I don't want
That's a
to
good
wait
pocket,
till like
yeah.
1 o'clock.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I like to get going real quick, and then you have that fresh energy too as well.
John B. Eminem album coming soon. That'd be
Oh,
nice.
man, that'd
I'm
be
kidding.
amazing.
We'll just put it in the world.
Hey, let's just get a joint. That's all.
put
I
it
want.
out there, man.
Let's get a song together. That'd be incredible.
Well,
But
appreciate you coming and hanging,
thank you.
man.
Thank you,
John
man.
B.
Appreciate you,
There it is.
my brother.